Well, hello there, and welcome to another tank review. I'm Corny Swiss, and today we're looking at the ISU-152, Rank 5 Soviet tank destroyer. And with all reviews, if you want to see something in particular, simulator gameplay, realistic gameplay, or just the final opinion, what I think of this tank, feel free to click that timestamp in the description below. I'll have them all listed. If you want to hear the more egghead portion of this review, well, stick around because that's what we're about to do. So, the ISU-152 is a rank 5 tank destroyer that sits at a 7.0 battle rating. And I'm going to tell you straight up, there's a reason it's a 7.0 battle rating and not an 8.0 like most rank 5 machines, except the Panther AUS-F. That is a 7.0 just like the ISU. And to some degree, the machines are kind of comparable. I know that's sad to hear, but I'll explain. So, it's a lovely plane, but let's get back to the tank. Now, I guess the advantage of this tank being at a 7.0 battle rating is that it sees, it doesn't only see rank 5s, it sees a fair number of rank 4s, and I'd say on the average it sees rank 4s. You don't see that many rank 5s because there's not that many rank 5 German tanks people play. Most people stick to rank 4. That's not always the case, but that's what I've noticed is that most of the time I run into rank 4s. It's a 46-ton machine, 520 horsepower, 2,200 RPM, max speed of 38 kilometers an hour. I believe that. It's not really a quick maneuverable machine. It's fairly slow. It doesn't turn all that well, but that being maneuverable is not really what this tank was designed for. This tank was designed as a sort of in the same idea of the SU-152. It's not a tank destroyer. It's a bunker buster. It's a fortification blaster. Its job is to just blow away enemy fortified positions. It's not meant to face tanks. However, the gun made it susceptible to that role in the sense that it has this big, powerful gun. So why not slap some armor-piercing shells on it and try and shoot tanks with it? And it was effective. But before we talk more about the gun, let's talk about the armor. The hull armor is 90 at the front, 90 at the sides, so it's actually down here. So this is 90, 90, and 60 back here. The turret, which is basically the upper casement, 90, 75, 60. What does this mean? At this tier, I think you would be better served having paper mache as armor rather than 90 millimeters. Because if you have paper mache, at least you'll be really fast. If you have just enough to keep the crew inside the tank as you're blitzing around and make so the gun doesn't just fall out the front, I think that's better than having the 90 millimeters of armor that this tank has. The issue I have with its 90 millimeters is one, okay, the upper glacis is really well sloped. All right. But why would you shoot the upper glacis or even the lower plate for that matter when you have a football field of a target right here? And if I'm not mistaken, the way the tank is laid out, if you put a shell through anywhere right here, you almost certainly kill the driver, kill the gunner. Because I believe the way it sits is that the driver's here and the gunner is like right behind him. So I could be wrong, but I know for a fact that when you get shot in the front with this thing through this plate, your driver and gunner, at least your driver, most of the time your gunner, gets knocked out. And rank 4 German tanks, the Tigers, do have the reload rate, the rate of fire to put another shot into you before you can return fire, which can be an issue. And obviously, if 90 isn't good enough, slightly sloped, 75 barely sloped is not going to cut it. If someone gets a flank shot on you, you're toast. Which is an issue because this tank has a very large profile when compared to other Russian tank destroyers. I'm just pulling the SU-122P as an example. But this is the same profile as, say, the SU-100. but look at the ISU. It's much taller. It's just a larger tank, and although the armor is thicker at the front, it's not nearly as well sloped. You see that's sloped back damn near 45 degrees. This is sloped back maybe 10 degrees. So you see what I mean? It's not, the armor is not what you drive this tank for, and it's not particularly fast. Which is why if you ditch some armor, I think this tank could be a little better because it'd be faster, and you'd still get one shot because, I mean, you decreased armor, but you were getting one shot anyway before, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, the armor kind of disappointing. Even angled, there's no reason angling, because if to angle enough to protect this, and to some degree that, not really this, but mostly that, you got to expose this. And the more you angle this way, the flatter this becomes. And I believe this is only 75 millimeters. So they can just punch right through that, and it's the same effect. It's still going to probably knock out your tank, hit ammo or something. But you guys don't really, I don't think anyone really pays attention to the ISU for the armor. I think they pay attention for the gun. Now, obviously, it doesn't get the BL-10 from World of Tanks. It gets this 152 millimeter ML-20S cannon, 20 rounds in the tank, and given the rate of fire, which is really, really high, I have a really good crew. We can actually look at my crew for a frame of reference. So I have a pretty good crew here for the old weapon reloading, and I have mine at 27.7 seconds, which is really long. Now, it's faster than the KV-2, but it's long. It's really long. So this 20 shell limitation, not really a big deal, because you don't get to fire the gun all that much. Looking at the ammo selection, you start off with this armor piercing and this high explosive, I believe. Yes, armor piercing and high explosive. Okay, so the armor piercing is, well, let's talk about the high explosive first. People want to fire high explosive from these large caliber guns, and usually you're right. I don't think it's necessarily the best choice on this tank when you run into rank 5s. Against rank 4s, it can be effective. The issue you run into is that, for example, a Yag Tiger. You can't hurt a Yag Tiger from the front with a high explosive shell from this gun. I mean, they have a penetration chart, and you know, at 75 millimeters, it's just not going to cut it. You do also have the explosive blast, which can be significant, and that's the way you kind of knock out tanks. Against a Yag Tiger, you shoot it in the face, you'll probably knock out its gun, but that's it. You simply will not kill it from the front, and that extends to the first selection of AP, this BR-540, which coincidentally, oh no, it's different. Never mind. Has decent penetration at close range, but it's nowhere near effective at long range. So when I first started playing this tank, I used HE almost exclusively because I carried a couple AP, but because at normal ranges, the AP just wasn't getting it done for me. The gun isn't accurate enough to aim for like the face of a turret. You kind of just start aiming at the tank, and the HE is more effective then, because maybe you get that explosion that sets them on fire or something like that. I don't know. So I mainly used HE when I started out. As I went down, you unlock this new AP, which is a little better penetration, which is fine. It's certainly an upgrade, but that's only really effective against like Panthers, the sides of Panthers, maybe the sides of King Tigers at medium range, but it's just not. I mean, when you start running into, it's more situational than HE. HE will always give you something most of the time. I say always and most of the time in the same sense, but the HE will, when you shoot them in the face, you'll probably knock out their gun. Shoot them in the side, something will probably break. AP can bounce. You can hit it at a weird angle. The difference with HE is that if you hit him at a weird angle, it still explodes. With this, it'll ricochet. So even though it's a big heavy shell, so the AP is situational. And then the heat ammo, which is what was what I use primarily. And I think most people look at it and say, "Oh my God, 250 millimeters penetration! Holy cow, sign me up!" And that's what I was initially. I was like, "Okay, well, this has got to be good." I mean, look at all this penetration. I can pen a Yag Tiger from the front, and you can pen the upper glacis. You can't pen the superstructure, the upper casement, but you can pen the upper glacis. And if you're looking directly at a Yag Tiger, hold on, let me just, for the sake of this, for the sake of information, let me pull up my Yag Tiger. Let's throw this bad boy right there where he belongs. Okay. So my Yag Tiger, here it is. See the M right here, this icon? Right there is a good place to shoot a Yag Tiger. You shoot him there, the shell's going to travel all the way through, probably light their engine on fire, certainly kill crew, maybe knock out the tank. I've shot it. You can shoot right through here. That's not a bad spot. Usually you kill someone. I haven't tried shooting the machine gun port. I don't know necessarily if that does anything different. But this plate's a good spot. This is not really. The upper casement is actually 250 millimeters thick. And it seems like you just don't do damage. Not sure why. I guess it's that weird point where the penetration is equal to the armor. And I'm not exactly sure what happens there. But this upper casement, fine. It'll go clean through, which is nice. So, and that's the heaviest armored machine you're really going to face. Ferdinands, you can pen them in any flat part of the armor. You can pen it, go straight through. I think the upper casement too. I haven't tried, but I don't get to shoot many Ferdinands in this. But I distinctly remember it being effective, so I think it is. I don't know. Don't take my word for that one. You can definitely pen his the flat plates on the front of his tank, though. Definitely. So yeah, but the thing about the heat, let me just pull it back up. The thing about the heat, it does have the highest muzzle velocity, which is nice. But the thing about it is, you got to remember that heat struggles against angled and spaced armor. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about side skirts on a tank, or maybe a heavily angled front glacis, or just angling in general. Heat will struggle, and something I've noticed, and something you're going to see in the replays, is that when you shoot a tank from the side, or even in the face, sometimes you just get a hit or undamaged. You don't just blow them up. It's actually very rare for me to one-shot tanks with this gun. Usually when I do, it's a King Tiger through the front of his turret, where I'm close enough and I literally just aim to the right of the gun and plant one clean through his turret. That usually gets the job done. But the sides of Panthers, I've bounced. I've had a non-damage, a hit, but it didn't do any damage. I've done the same with King Tigers from the side, where the shell's gone low and hit their side skirts and just blasted them off. So that's kind of the disadvantage of the heat, is that the heat ammo in general is kind of situational. It doesn't, just because it has 250 millimeters penetration, doesn't mean it will pen, 250 millimeters of armor. If the armor, even if it's 150 millimeters, but it's heavily sloped, it's just gonna spray everywhere. It's not gonna be effective. And if it hits a side skirt, even if the armor behind it's weak, it may not penetrate because it, I guess, wastes all that chemical penetration power on the side skirt, So you have to be careful when you're aiming at enemy tanks with this gun. And honestly, maybe you're a better driver, ISU-152 driver than me, but I struggle to one-shot tanks in this. Now, not saying it doesn't happen, it does, but with less frequency than I one-shot tanks with other tanks. 122 millimeter guns, those have those AP rounds that just one-shot everything. These heat rounds, less so. So, yeah, kind of just an overview. Armor is garbage. Don't rely on the armor. It will never save you. Well, it might save you, but don't count on it. Speed, maneuverability, it's not great. It's below average, but it's also a relatively big, heavy machine. It's very tall. You kind of stick out. This tank, you have to play it in a pack, like with a bunch of medium tanks or a couple other tanks, you don't want to be the thing they're worried about. Like you'd rather have an IS-4 roll around the corner and start taking hits, and then you can pop out and blast someone, or at least damage them. What I started doing, and I think you're going to see in the replays, I started going for just damaging hits. Like if someone's shooting at our guy and he's going to get the next shot, I'm going to blast his gun, because I know if I hit his gun's going to get knocked out. I have this huge cannon. It's going to knock out his gun, and then my teammate can put the next shot in. This also is a tank that you're not going to do very well in relative to what your allies are going to do, because T-54s are going to run rampant and they're always going to do better than you. And IS-4 is kind of the same thing. But you do have a place on the team. You can be effective. You can kind of help out, which is, I guess, this tank's role. It's a secondary. It's like the second line. It's supposed to be other people are taking the hits. I'm back here and I'm going to derp someone from range. But anyway, so with all that being said, let's jump into some replays. Alright, so we're going to start off with a simulator replay on Karelia. Now, when I was working on getting clips, I got Karelia a lot, so don't be surprised if you see this map again. But so we're on Karelia. We spawned in the southwestern spawn, and I decided to come this way, mostly because I always do, but also because there's a whole crap load of allies over here, and I was like, goody goody, they're gonna get shot at, not me. T-54s are probably gonna, well, or they could just shoot me. It's like how it's just like in World of Tanks when you see someone on low health and everyone immediately shoots that person, because by God, just shoot them. So we're rolling up on down the flank road. They haven't really defended it, I guess you could say, and I see that muzzle cloud, and I'm like, okay, we gotta do something about that. So I'm gonna push over the top here and try and locate whatever made that cloud, and try and put a shot into him. Now I want to see what this guy actually was, because there was a very sneaky tiger. He's right up there on that hill somewhere. I think he's actually behind that tree. When I first zoomed, there he is. And I put a shot into him. Got his loader and his horizontal turret drive. But that's what I'm kind of talking about. That was a decent hit, and it didn't do a lot. I think if I'd been firing AP, I might have knocked him out. But as you can see from my loadout, I carry 15 heat and 5 HE, because my experience is that AP. Okay, and I'm gonna put another shot. So just a hit, and you're gonna see a lot of just hits. Now that shot, I'm gonna say that wasn't well aimed, but at the same time, this gun isn't very forgiving on the RNG side. You can aim a shot as meticulously as you want, but it might go left, it might go right, it might go short, it might go high. Just the way the gun is, it's not the most accurate in my opinion. But it went on the side of his turret. Okay, and then the IS-4 cleans that guy up. We get a very healthy assist from that. But with King Tigers, you always want to aim for the flat part of the front of their turret. Just plant a shell through that. That's how I achieve success. And it works against the Porsche turret as well. Just because the front of the turret kind of acts like a shell trap, and you can just slam a shell through the bottom of the tank. It's really good. But I'm kind of moving up over here, looking around, where I think we've basically secured that spawn, but we actually haven't. Take a hit right there and it bounces. What? It's like skipped off the top of my tank, and now we're opening up on a few enemy tanks that were spotted up here. There's a what's it called? A Jagdpanzer. And or Jagdpanther, whichever one it is, and his first shot doesn't kill me, and for some reason he is not going to shoot me again, I don't think. Now but this is an example of this gun kind of misbehaving. What am I doing here? I'm aiming for kind of just aiming just for the front of his tank. Target undamaged? What? You know, how did that happen? That's a little frustrating. And I'm trying to see right here where the shell hit. But I don't know. Maybe it, I don't know, skipped off the side of his mantlet? Or like, you know, exploded on the front of his mantlet but didn't actually get to penetrate? I don't know. Weird shit. But next shot, aim a little bit more over there. That time I got his loader. But still, you know. Now this is, granted this is, the reason I think I'm struggling here is because the that tank is all about the front sloped armor, and he doesn't like being fired against sloped surfaces. So I think I kind of attribute that to the fact that this gun is behaving so poorly. But I do find a nice sweet spot. I realized, wait, the gun mantlet. Next to the gun mantlet is kind of like a little shell trap. So if I can get, and as you saw, I got the shell in there, and he exploded, which is nice. But you have to be careful with sloped armor, and then to some degree, and even HE might have been the better choice there. It would have certainly disabled the tank, but it may not have actually killed him. It probably would have just made him hate life, which I guess is kind of the same idea. Now, this is where you kind of see the speed of this tank. It's such a devil when it comes to speed. It's so fast. No, it's not. I'm lying. There's a Panther II up here. The T-54 is going to go forward and get hit and lit on fire. And I'm going to try and come up here and back him up. My goal, if I can put a shell into the front of the Panther II, the front of his face of his turret, he'll probably either be dead or wishing he was. So I'm like, no, I'm coming up to save you. Artie's coming in. We gotta go. We gotta go. Get up there. There he is. Never mind. Fuck. He gets knocked out. And I just kind of sit up here. Artie comes in. I'm checking the team scores, like see who's alive. But we're going to end up winning. To cut a story short, I'm not really going to contribute anything else. So, yeah. I'm just going to kind of run over there, run down that north road towards their spawn. But, yeah, my contribution to this game is basically over. So, let's jump ahead to the next replay. So here's a realistic battle on, you guessed it, Karelia. This is a domination game, and you're going to kind of see what I think this tank destroyer's role is. I'm going to come over here and check the flank road and confirm that we're not being horribly outflanked while we push over to C, which we're going to take our sweet time doing. But then I'm going to be, I won't say bold. It's a decent position, but I'm going to move to a different position and try and basically cover our C cap. Whether or not they kind of knew I was there and wanted to shoot me, they don't, which is nice. But basically confirmed that no one is down this flank road. Most people are in airplanes, which is a little annoying. I wish people didn't just like immediately jump into planes, but I guess it's the best way to score ground kills is jump in a plane. But what I was thinking here, I was thinking that, okay, we just saw a Tiger 2H is going to push north along that road. So I was figuring, okay, I'm going to come over here and then shoot him in the face when he comes around. But then I kept seeing this Tiger P over here, this guy, and I was trying to find ways to shoot him. But I believe he's just behind that rock. Maybe if I wanted to lob a shell over, I might hit him, but I was too worried about the Tiger 2H showing up and not being loaded for him, so I end up not taking a shot at him. I do really want to, though. I'm trying to see, oh, right there. But the fact that he keeps jumping in and out means that he must be in cover. And lo and behold, there's a Tiger 2H down over there. pushing across that north road towards our C spawn, or our C point. So I decide, okay, that Tiger, we have a tank destroyer pushing. Sorry, we have a tank destroyer pushing on their A cap there. So I'm going to provide cover support to our boys in the C. Now, the interesting thing with this tank is you can actually kind of stay in cover and still shoot people, because the drop is such that you can sort of lob a shell over a little obstacle like I did just there. I couldn't actually see the Tiger II, but I could put a shell over the top of the rock and basically go right over and hit him. Obviously didn't do anything, but it's a nice thought. So I'm loaded now and I'm looking to use this shell, so I'm going to turn back towards this Tiger II-H and basically just do it again. And that was a decent hit. Loader, horizontal turret drive, and cannon breach. That's a pretty good hit. That's kind of the role I think this tank has. It has a gun that if it makes, you don't really need to aim for weak spots. Just shoot them somewhere in the face, and you're likely to disable them in such a way that it'll reduce their combat effectiveness and give your tanks a better chance of dealing with them. Now I do see a enemy Tiger II kind of over, you saw me looking over that little ridge. He's right on the other side of that, but I don't have him spotted, and I sincerely doubt I'll be able to lob a shell like that. But this Tiger II-H still wants some. And I'm kind of thinking, okay, he's not pushing on the cap though, which it's unfortunate. I would rather he did. I'm kind of hoping that our bombers go and take care of that guy who's hiding behind that hill. I was hoping he'd push across the middle and I could just pop him, but it wasn't meant to be. And something else you'll notice is that the gun traverse for the casement is really bad. You have to move the tank a lot, which is really unfortunate. Which means this tank really needs to be far away. If you want to maintain like a constant scope, you need to be kind of far away, because you don't turn that well and you have to turn a lot. But right here I'm kind of looking to open up a line of sight through to their side of the cap, basically right there. Target undamaged. What happened there is it skipped off the top of his tank just like an AP shell, but there was no flat surface, no solid flat surface for the heat shell to use that like chemical penetration on, because that's what a heat shell is, if I'm not mistaken. It's more of a chemical jet of like liquid metal through the tank rather than a round per se, or an explosive shell. But gonna have another go. We have a guy moving in. Would really like for this guy to sort of, I don't know, make a move. Gonna shoot him, and it actually goes, I think, I'm not sure where the shell went, but it knocked out his transmission, damaged his ammo. So I'm tempted to think it went low and maybe hit his either his upper glacis, or I aimed for the front of his turret. I don't know if it went through the front of his turret. Hopefully it did. I don't know, but he's dead. I'm not. So because we're capping their capture point, I call it theirs because it's on their side of the map, or at least it's on the southern portion of the map. I decide, okay, I'm going to kind of go assault gun mode here, which is something you shouldn't do. But I want to try and get up over here on this north road and prevent them from kind of pushing on this cap, because if we can hold two caps, we're pushing in on A, so we're looking good for maybe a 3 cap here. Thought about shooting that JU-88, by the way, but you take so long to reload that if the tank showed up in the next 6 cold dark centuries, I would be dead. So we're not going to do that. But I'm going to push down, sort of down over here, and basically my goal is to cut off any advance, any push by the enemy team to resecure the cap. But as you can imagine, now I do get out of this, obviously, because I'm so fantastic. But that was basically my only contribution to this game, was supporting the C-cap. The game's going to end. I'm not going to get to shoot anything else, which is unfortunate. But anyway, so let's move on to the next clip. Alright, so this is a short clip. It's short because I get knocked out. But, I don't know, it kind of highlighted how I think this tank should be played to some degree. This is on Kuban, and I'm actually going to type to this fellow ISU-152. We don't see many of our kind running around, but he's going to ask me questions, so I'm going to answer him, which is why I kind of run into him. I hit cruise control, and I end up bumping into him. But, I apologized, of course. So I back up, I type, and then we're going to get to fighting. And now the first position I go to is a decent position. It's not very good. I prefer the other side of the map. I don't really like this spawn, but beggars can't be choosers, and this is the one that I was given. So I'm going to push up, I'm going to go up to this little ridge and try and pop dudes as they come over the hill over there, and hopefully not get horribly outflanked. But there is an enemy Tiger II over here. I just got to get the gun down. So there he is. First shot, just a hit. I don't know what happened. It was a solid hit on him, but it didn't do any damage, which is annoying. That's kind of the story with this gun sometimes, at least it was for me, is that sometimes you have what looks like a solid hit, and it just doesn't do anything. But anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm going to fire this next shot, and I'm actually going to relocate, because my tank, I need to surprise them. It just takes too long to kind of put the gun on them. So, another hit, which is a little unfortunate. And I dodge a shot there. I don't know if that was the AI or the player, but so I make the decision. Okay, it's time to back up. Time to reassess life, and I'm gonna go over and take a shot from that little road bit over there. And yeah, so my goal is to kind of just bounce between these two positions and keep them. I don't know. I don't want them to always know where I am, but kind of looking back, this is kind of pointless. As long as I haven't been, but that's the thing. If you get hit in this tank, you're probably dead. But yeah, so I'm kind of pushing up over here. I take a hit right there, but it doesn't knock me out, so life is good. I spot him, put a shot in him, got his gunner commander, injures loader, damaged his horizontal turret drive. Not a bad hit, but I really would have liked to kill him. But that, that's kind of the way this tank felt to me. I don't one-shot many people, I'll tell you that. And I don't know if it's necessarily my aim. It might be. Maybe I'm just not good enough. But your experience obviously may vary. But to me, the heat shells just don't get it done. And they're the most all-purpose shells, in my opinion. I don't think AP, would have gotten the job done right there. You'd be hard-pressed to penetrate the front of his turret, and certainly not his upper glacis. At least with the heat, I have a chance, if I hit something flat, to blast him. But I didn't hit anything flat, so that's the way it is. But I'm coming back over here. I know there's a medium tank over there in kind of the, directly in front of me in those trees over there. I know there's a medium tank, but there's also still that heavy tank. And he was the target I was going for. The reason is that he only has one spawn. So if I knock him out, I knock that player out of the game. And if I survive, now we're up one player. But the medium tank, even if I knock him out, now he knows where I am. So it's, I don't know, I prefer to go for tanks with one spawn. So there he is. I think he fired previously. We're going to shoot him. We're going to kill him. But I'm going to get knocked out. Kinda sucks. Alright, so this is a really quick clip just to show kind of what I mean. I'm coming over the hill. The Tiger II turns his turret and plants a shot into me before I can get the gun up. killed my driver and my gunner. That's really unfortunate. He has the rate of fire to get the next shot off, but he kind of derps around a little too much. So I get the opportunity to fire the next shot. And I just shotgunned and blew him up. He gave me the side of his tank, and I think I hit him right under the turret, which was a good place to shoot. But here's what I mean. I'm reloading now. I'm trying to run away and get somewhere safe. But on the radar, I spot an enemy tank destroyer. And he is going to be an issue for me. He is, in fact, going to knock me out because this tank, if you're not loaded and you're cut out in the open, you're toast. You know, and that's basically it. Alright, so opinion time. What do I think of the ISU-152? So it's better than the Panther Aus F. However, it is not better than any other rank 5. Every other rank 5 is better than this one. In my opinion, this should be the last rank 5 you unlock for those Soviets. Go for this one last. The IS-4 is a beast. IS-3 is a beast. T-54 is a beast. ISU-152, not a beast. I think if you come from World of Tanks, you'll be all too aware of how powerful this tank was in World of Tanks. It is not that powerful in War Thunder. The main issue you have is that the gun, I'm not going to say it underperforms, but it is very picky about what you shoot with it. The HE doesn't get it done, in my experience. You need, the heat is the best all-purpose ammo. So I generally fire heat, but heat needs to hit a flat surface. If you don't hit a flat surface, you lose the effectiveness of the shell. So, and the gun's RNG is bad enough, I think, to a degree where shooting something, you know, I don't know, 800 meters away, you can't aim for weak spots. You have to aim for the tank. Whereas with 100mm guns, like on the T-54 or the 122mm guns even, you can aim for weak spots. You can aim for the shot trap on the front of a Tiger 2P. No problem. With this gun, you really can't. This is definitely a support tank. It is not a run to the front tank. You don't have the armor. The armor, I mean, if this thing had, I don't know, 150mm of front armor, maybe. But even then, it wouldn't all be all that great, you know, and it'd be super, super slow. So, yeah. But the reason the armor is so big is because they want to fit this massive gun on it, because it's not designed to fight tanks. The ISU-152 isn't designed to blow up tanks. It's designed to blow up fortifications and buildings and shit like that. Not to blow up enemy tanks. But it can do it. I mean, you saw, if you catch it in the right position, you can one-shot a tank, no problem. But this isn't World of Tanks for sure. You really have to be careful. The armor will not save you. Most of the times, if your driving gun gets knocked out, you're probably dead. You might get the shot off, but the return shot that they're undoubtedly going to get to fire is probably going to kill you. But like I said in the beginning of this review, there is a reason that it's the only one of 2 rank 5s that is at a 7.0 battle rating. Because these, honestly, you don't last that long. You die pretty quickly. It's not like an IS-4 or a T-54 where you can run around the battle and just derp everyone, or even like a Yag Tiger is durable from the front. This tank is not durable from any angle, except maybe right here if you're shooting this very sliver of the tank, or maybe you're shooting the very top of the tank. Yeah, I'm durable then. Doesn't matter though. I've had games where I did ricochet shots off the top of the tank, but yeah, not often. So, I mean, the battle rating alone should kind of indicate, because if I'm not mistaken, from the dev videos that they've been posting, I try and watch them all, but I think I've missed one. The battle rating is to a simple degree a function of the tank's lifespan on the battlefield. So So if, let's say the IS-4 needs to be the top battle ranking because it lives forever. T-54s are the same way. They're extremely effective, so they survive a long time. Now, all this could be totally wrong. Don't quote me. But it makes sense when you break it down. From playing this tank, you don't live that long, which is why it's a rank 5 with a 7.0 battle rating. It's it's basically in the same boat as this little tank. The Panther Aus F. From my experience, the gun is totally inadequate, and it just gets blown up all day long. So, yeah, 75mm gun at rank 5 just doesn't get it done. But it's but that's not really the case here. The case here is it's so big and the armor just gets wrecked. The gun, I'm not going to say it's a bad gun because it's really not. It's great for what it was designed to do, but it's not really a tank destroyer gun, and it doesn't run into the same foes as like a KV-2 or an ISU-152, which can use HE and just blast whatever they hit. So, take that as you will. In my opinion, I don't like this tank. I don't really enjoy driving it. Occasionally you get those moments where you're like, BAM! And you just blow someone up. But, yeah, no, not really. I mean, I've said it in previous videos, but I think the SU-100 and the SU-122P are the pinnacles of the tank destroyer lines. It's kind of criminal, I think, that the SU-100 doesn't see rank 5s. It really should, because it's really, really strong. And the SU-122P absolutely should. But the SU-152, honestly, it shouldn't be the top of the line Russian tank destroyer. I don't think it's that good. But I don't know. Maybe you'd really enjoy it. Maybe you're the next coming of the ISU-152, and you just run out there and wreck shit. I've seen ISU-152s have really good games. It's just in my experience, I've never been able to say I've had one. Most of the time my games are 1 or 2 kills, maybe 3 if I'm super lucky and the game went really long. But more often than not, this is actually the second time I've tried to do this review, and I tried to do it maybe a month ago, and I just could not get games that I felt were worth showing because I would just get one shot, early on in the game, or bombed or whatever. So I don't know. Of the rank 5s, I don't think this one's very good. The T-54 and the IS-4 and the IS-3 are so much better because they fill the role. They have a high caliber gun, 122mm, and it's designed to knock out tanks. This is a large caliber gun designed to blow up bunkers, which is a little different than knocking out a tank. So, yeah, I don't really like it, but you might. So, if your dream in life is to unlock the ISU-152, I encourage you to go full speed ahead, but keep in mind the limitations that I've sort of tried to spell out. Weak armor, a finicky gun sometimes, and not that fast. So, take it as you will. But anyway, that's going to finish off this review. If you've enjoyed or just found it interesting, I'd really appreciate it if you maybe leave a like or whatever you want to do. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to voice them in the comments section. I expect to be kind of busy over the next few days, so if you're posting down there and I don't get back to you quickly, I'm sorry, but I will eventually. I will get back to you probably within 24 hours. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed. And if you have any suggestions for tanks you want to see, I think the tank I am working on is the King Tiger H with the Henschel turret. I'm debating between doing the Porsche turret and the Henschel turret. I feel like the Henschel turret is basically the same as the Tiger 2 with the 105. So I'm not sure. To me, they kind of play the exact same way. So I was thinking about maybe just doing the Porsche turret because it is a little different. But if you have anything you want to see in particular, feel free to drop it in the comment section. I'll look at it and see what I can do. So with that, I hope you enjoyed. I've been Courtney Swiss, and I'll see you next time.